let's go here to Javier. And he says, hey, if you think the Padres are bad last year, imagine no Soto, Hader, and Snell.
Well, that's what John and I argued about this. I had to yell at the guy out in left field who's always cheerleading Padre baseball. I mean, if this payroll cut takes place and they have to trade Soto because it's a dollar deal, they're not going to get back what they traded away. And if they can't bid any longer on Snell nor Hader, that's 3 core players gone. And I hate to be a harbinger of bad things to come, but pitchers coming off surgeries, you don't know what Yu Darvish is going to be like, and you better hope that Musgrove does not have another setback with a shoulder capsule, because that's a really dangerous injury. And then you got the back end 3 in the starting rotation. You have to pay them all $16 million a year. I'm not sure those guys are worth $16 million a year. So suddenly this is not the same full roster that we had before.
Yeah, I mean, it got a lot of money tied up in the Fab Four and doesn't leave a lot left, for those back end of the rotation guys. I mean, we got to bring back Chris Denorfia, get some guys on the minimum, for the major league minimum. But this is going to be really bad. It could be really bad if they have to cut the payroll down, because then it'll be the Fab Four and then a bunch of, nobodies.
See, the reality is, if indeed they're cutting this payroll, you would normally say, well, Hacksaw, if they're going to have to trade Soto, that's $30 million that won't go to Soto, go to somebody else. But no, they're trading the $30 million because they can take this dollar value of the budget down.
Right.
That's the big issue there. And, we'll use Snell's money. Well, you can't, because that goes into having to cut the payroll $50 million. And Hader goes into the fact he won't be here.
Exactly.
So it's a big issue. We move on. Next question, John.
Okay, let's go to Raul. He says, where do you see the Raiders at the end of the season?
In the toilet. Can you say last place, baby?
Yeah.
A disaster. Historically, Mark Davis has always looked at the shiny object out there. I got to have that player. And a Raider fan, drunk as he is, oh, this is great. And it always blows up in their face. Just look at the Raiders' 1-loss record under Mark Davis, what it was prior with Al Davis. Like I say, silver and bleak. Maybe Harbaugh's the guy, but you need a general manager comes in. You got salary cap issues. They don't have a hell of a lot of talent on that roster because the draft got screwed up because the shiny object coach, John Gruden, they gave him player personnel power. You go back and look at the Gruden drafts, hardly any of those guys are here. Some of them are out of the NFL. Some are with other teams. 2 of them are in jail. Bad scenario. I hate to bring you bad news, but you're the one that wants to wear silver and bleak, so there it is.
Have you got any insight on, from a business perspective, how the Raiders are doing since they've moved to Vegas? I would imagine their ticket sales are way up.
Yeah, they are, and fans are selling their tickets in Vegas. So when Green Bay comes in, there's a lot of green and yellow in the stands. But the resale value on Raider tickets, from what I gather, is pretty doggone high. But I just wonder when Raider fans are ever going to wake up or get sober and wake up and understand, God, this is a bad product. Okay, John, next question.
Okay, let's go here to Angel. He says, TV contract's going to be interesting. Not just the Padres, but I could see a few Bally's and other regional folding. I'll be surprised if Bally San Diego still exists same time next year.
Well, MLB took over the Padres, then took over the Diamondbacks. I've been told that the fallout from Bally and their corporate entity, Diamond Sports, is worse in bankruptcy now than anybody realized. I was told that there are 16 teams that MLB will seize and take over between now and January. So they will have streaming rights to 16 teams, which means then they'll go into the national advertising market and they'll say, we're selling you, your spots are going to run on Padre baseball, Indian baseball, Pirate baseball, Reds baseball, Diamondbacks, Texas Rangers, whoever else was under that Bally umbrella. But they're going to have 16 teams. It's not the 30 that they wanted, because the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Red Sox, who are very successful networks, said, no, we're not giving you our rights back because we invested, we built our regional sports networks, and they're very, very viable. But they got, I think by opening day, there'll be 16 teams under the MLB banner. And, all we need to do is look at what they did when they seized the Padre broadcast. Padre telecasts are very popular, and they got good ratings, and everybody likes those play-by-play guys. So, they're going to keep all these other broadcast teams in place It'll just be run through MLB TV.
Yeah, everyone loves Don and Mud.
Sure.
Hey, let's get Blake Snell, and maybe we can put him in the booth too. So, um, isn't it amazing though that we've been talking about how all these rules changes in baseball have been so successful? There's more people at the games. Attendance league wide is up. I mean, especially at the Padres at Petco. The games are faster. There's more excitement, but then at the same time, these regional sports networks are going bankrupt. The TV ratings for the World Series are way down. So you're getting these mixed messages on the financial health of MLB.
Well, I think the only mixed message is it was two teams that nobody could identify with. Texas hadn't done it in 62 years. It's not a national brand. And the Diamondbacks showed up because they earned it, but there's nothing sexy about that. Had it been Atlanta Braves versus Texas, had it been Dodgers versus Texas, hell, if it had been the Padres hadn't underachieved against Texas, maybe it would have been different. And I guess I'm saying you need marquee names with brand. You need the Yankees, you need the Mets, you need the Dodgers to be part of this whole thing come World Series time. But it is stunning, as electric as the playoff games were and all the late rallies and the home runs and all that, the worst TV ratings all time in a World Series for every one of these games, starting with game one through what happened on Wednesday night. Tough call.
Okay, let's move on here. This is a question here from Steve. He says, Lee, do you think Wander Franco will play with the Rays or even in MLB again?
Well, it's interesting. He was taken off the administrative leave list today, Thursday morning, and put back on Tampa Bay's 40-man roster. The investigation of his involvement with minor girls in relationships is not completed, but baseball has allowed him now to come back, and I would assume there still will be some form of discipline handed to this guy sometime during the course of this offseason. And I think that, once that is sorted out, what he did, what he didn't do, what was rumored, whatever, he'll probably be part of Tampa Bay. But it's one of the reasons Tampa Bay faltered at the end of the season is their star shortstop was gone because they ripped him off the roster because of what he did.
It's amazing. We talk sports, and half of it is what happens off the field. It's like TMZ, and it's these guys that keep getting into trouble. I mean, when are they ever going to learn?
Well, I think the shocker is, these players have to know that some of these other players who got in trouble are out of baseball. And Pittsburgh Pirates had a closer that was really good, a left-handed pitcher, Fernando Vasquez. He's in prison because he had a relationship with a 13 and 14-year-old girl over a 2-year period.
Unbelievable.
Everybody in baseball knew that, and yet Wander Franco and these guys get themselves involved off the field. He's involved with 3 minors in the Caribbean.
Oh, God.
So
that's
where we are. We'll see where the story goes.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to M. Allen. He says here, I love one straight hour of hockey talk from the franchise.
I'll tell you what, there's 2 storylines in hockey right now that's grabbed everybody's attention. The tragic death of the Pittsburgh Penguin player, Adam Johnson, who went to play in England in the English Elite League and got hit at center ice on a clean check, fell down, got a skate cut on his neck and died. He's 29 years of age. It has set off red flags everywhere in pro hockey. Each of the leagues, starting with the NHL, meeting with the union this week, and the minor leagues, are trying to determine whether or not they should mandate immediately a rule that every player wears what they call a neck guard, which is padding. It's almost like a turtleneck sweater, so that those guys won't suffer the potential of a skate cut that severs an artery. It was a terrible story. So that's one story. The other story is what's happened up the road. Do you know the Anaheim Ducks have won 5 games in a row?
Really? Nice.
Led by Leo Carlsson, the number 1 pick. Troy Terry had a hat trick. 4 of them were on the road. They won 4 road games in a row, came home, and then won their 5th straight. The Ducks are playing really, really well right now. I don't know whether this keeps up because guys get hurt, etc. But they're kind of off and running. The Kings are playing well, so that's where we are in hockey.
It's funny that M. Allen brings this up. I mean, it would be kind of fun just to have a podcast all about hockey, because people are starving for that kind of information, and who knows hockey better than you?
I volunteer. Well, maybe we'll do some specialty programs as we go. Okay, a couple more here.
Let's go to Brett. He says, the Bidwells are a joke and always have been. Should have stayed in St. Louis.
Well, they moved to Arizona right after I left to come here to be the voice of the Chargers. And franchise has not been very good for a long period of time. They did have stretches, obviously, with the success of Mike Martz, and then they had the success with Kurt Warner right at the end. But in the bigger picture, they've not been run very well, and this guy comes off as being a tyrant. This is really a terrible story about Michael Bidwell, and I spin back to what I said early on. When's the NFL going to do something about these kind of owners who act this way and run their business this way and treat their employees this way? Because that's really deplorable stuff.
Yeah, it's just a mess. And it's just incredible how there are these bad owners and they continue to make bad decisions about how they run their business. And like you say, the NFL just sort of puts up with them. So is this the billionaire privilege? You think is that what's going on here?
It's big business. There's no doubt about it. But somewhere along the line, I mean, in the history of the NFL, we have had owners who have been removed. There was an owner, Leonard Tost, in Philadelphia that was involved in gambling, out. Jerry Richardson, the founder of the Carolina Panthers, was involved in a lot of sexual misconduct and the way he treated women in his organization. Suddenly, franchise was sold. Eddie DeBartolo, the most famous owner, I mean, he built that 49er empire in the Bill Walsh, George Seifert era. He got involved in a bribery scandal in Louisiana. He was forcibly removed. So there is precedent to take these guys out. The stuff in Washington was hideous, and it took them 3 years to finally get Daniel Snyder to sell that team. This is pretty irresponsible too, and there's no call for it except that's him, and that's him is a bad sign for people that work for him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it was just a really sad story. Hey, can we get a couple of social media comments in here?
Hey, they joined us, so let's hear what they've got to say.
All right. Like there's a couple of good ones here. So this is a good one about you, Hacksaw. He says, Hacksaw is the best in the business. So happy that he has embraced social media and brought his talent to the internet.
Well, it's cool that we did this. This thing has exploded. We're hoping to expand. We got we think some pretty exciting stuff that we're going to tell you about down road. And we want you to join our team. If you go to my website, leehacksawhamilton.com, right on the homepage, there's something really cool at the top of my homepage where you join our team. And we have details that'll be coming out. But once you join our team, send us your email. You'll be getting notifications on a whole pile of kind of unique and different things. But you are right. We are bleeping brilliant. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for being good at what I do.
You're the franchise.
Thank you.
Okay, let's here's a Coach Prime comment. And this is about, your comments about how he was handling, this lack of talent on the line. And according to B Newman, he says, your suggestions make no sense. Dion is stuck with a line that is undersized. When your team is smaller and weaker than your opponent, you don't try and match their strength. You use your speed and try to run them out of the building. Problem is, these top teams are fast too. It's not like Colorado can trade for linemen. They work with what they have. Terrible suggestions. Quote, line up tight ends and put more people up front. And
well, what you do is you change your offense a little bit. You need to protect that quarterback. That's his kid. 42 sacks in 7 games. It's ridiculous. So what you do is you bring a second tight end or an H-back in, and you plant him next to the left tackle, or he blocks in the backfield. You have to protect the quarterback so the kid can make some plays down the field, and it's gotten just progressively worse and worse. And I understand Coach Prime, tough guy. We all play this game, and we can handle this. Well, his kid's been sacked 42 times and has been in the hospital. And I think it's really unfair to the kid. I understand their system. You try to match speed and create mismatches. They can't run the damn ball at all, and it can't pass block because they got everybody out in the formation. Change what you're doing. You keep one extra receiver in, make him a double tight end, and protect the kid. Give the kid a chance to actually make plays down the field to what speed guys you got out there. If I were a coach, that's what I'd do.
Well, you can't showcase your speed if you're always under siege, when you're running for your life. So I think they need to do both. I think, he's right. They got to exploit the talent they have, but they're going to need some more help to do it. And that might be one less weapon in the receiver corps.
Sam Bertigliano, longtime coach, Cleveland Browns, friend of mine, good guy, had the favorite term about quarterback sacks. It's tough to complete passes downfield when your quarterback is in horizontal parade rest.
Yeah, that's a name from the past, Sam
Yeah.
Ritigliano. Good for you. When was he the coach? That was before Marty
It was
Schottenheimer.
the Cardiac Kids, Brian Sipe and all that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's do one or two more here.
One or two more. Let's go here to the NBA. And this was a comment about the Clippers and the Lakers from Jade. It says, great take, Lee, but it's still the Nuggets and Bucks season to lose. They're too consistent, have no national drama, distractions, and have clean stars who stay out of trouble.
Favorite phrase in the NBA now is 3-on-3. Everybody's got to have three superstars. And you look at what's happened in the NBA, what Boston did, what Milwaukee did, what the Lakers have, what the Clippers have just gotten. Those are the marquee teams, but you need three big stars to be able to compete at this point in time. And you are correct. Giannis and Dame in Milwaukee, that's pretty damn good. And you look at what Boston's acquired to go with Tatum and Brown, that's pretty effective. The Lakers obviously have got the two superstars and a lot of role players, and the Clippers have just gotten three established guys. Now, the Clippers have to keep them all on the floor healthy, and then the Clippers have to see if they can play together because last I checked, you can only use one basketball at a time. But that's what the NBA's become. Big three, 3-on-3. If you got three stars, chance to compete.
Have you seen any of the San Antonio Spurs games with Wemby?
Oh, yeah.
And they're a lot of fun. He's a talented kid.
Oh, yeah. He'll grow, and he's going to go through a tough learning curve, and we'll just see how he holds up. Because as the season wears on, it's going to get more physical. It's going to get tougher. But they came from behind the other night in Phoenix. Big story. They were down 20, and they came back in the fourth quarter, and they beat the Suns with Wemby.
Wow.
So that was pretty impressive, but it only counts as one win.
Well, and then there's also Chet Holmgren. Isn't he healthy again?
He's
right?
in Oklahoma City, and he played very well out of the gate. They don't have enough around him yet. They're in just kind of the rebuild mode in Kansas City.
Yeah, just these tall, skinny guys are kind of fun to watch. Let's get another comment here. How about Phil Nevin? This is from Ghost Dog. He says, the Angels were badly plagued by injuries this year, and this was not Nevin's fault. But I wanted the guy out almost as soon as he took over after he put in Wentz as a, quote, opener, only to have him intentionally throw at two Mariners. It was a Bush League nonsense, and Nevin is 100% in the wrong. Win or lose, that's just not the type of ball I'm a fan of.
Well, Phil's old school baseball. Phil's a little bit of a hothead. Phil's a big clubhouse guy, so he wants to protect his guys. So that's why there are these isolated incidents. At the end of the day, he was a victim. I mean, Phil inherited a bad situation from Joe Madden, and it got worse and worse just because of the injuries. I mean, if you look at the number of games that Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani have missed in the last 3 years, it's just hopeless. And they're baseball-related injuries. Guys injure their calf running out a base hit. Guys crash into the wall, injure a shoulder. Rendon keeps getting hit by pitches because he keeps jamming the plate. It's just baseball, and they've just had a real bad run of luck, and now they have 5 days. Free agency started this morning at 9 a.m. Angels, Padres, Dodgers, whatever. They have 5 days in which they're the only ones that can talk to their guys about staying. So the Angels have between now and Monday to make their best pitch, their only pitch, their last pitch to Ohtani. I don't think it's going to do any good. But it's the same thing with the Padres. If they were going to attempt to keep Snell or keep Hader, between now and Monday, this is the time to make your best offer. Because then, effective next Monday, the whole world becomes free agents, and then everything changes.
Yeah, this is a crazy time in the sport because we start seeing these announcements kind of flying, plus all the MVP and Rookie of the Year announcements are coming. But, this Nevin thing thrown at ball players, yeah, it's part of the game. It's part of the history of the game. And I'll tell you what, there were times last year with the Padres that you wish that would have happened, that there was something that was going to fire up the team and to get them passionate. But it seems like, Machado is a professional. He's out there grinding, working every day, tough at bats, and, but losing that emotional edge. And maybe Nevin is what they need to kind of kick them in the butt.
Well, those were accidental hit by pitches. Guys get jammed. break your hand,
Mhm.
hamate bone, whatever it is. I don't think those were the cases where my guy's going to go out the next inning and he's going to dot somebody at home plate in retaliation for my guy getting hit. Now, when you throw at guys after preceding batter hits a home run, you do want somebody to stand up and protect your star players. And sometimes bench clearers become unifying moments for a franchise. But at the same time, there's a risk somebody's going to get
Yeah.
somebody just get stepped on at the bottom of the pile. So you got to be very careful when you do that stuff. But it is part of the code of baseball. If you're going to bean my guy after the preceding batter hit a 3-run home run, just prepared, your leadoff guy is going to get plunked. That's just the way we do our business. But you just don't throw at guys because one of your guys got hit on an inside pitch.
Mhm.
They either got away or he was jamming the plate and got hit on the hand.
You remember the bench clearing brawl between the Padres and the Dodgers about 5-6 years ago? Andy Green was the manager, and he had his press conference afterwards. And I thought this was a great Andy Green moment because he said, "Hey, we don't have the team now, but we're coming. We're building our minor league system. Our ownership is committed. We're coming. And may not beat you today, but we're going to beat you down the road." And he was a prophet. I mean, Andy Green had it right. The poor guy just couldn't outlast, working through these tank seasons. But to me, when there is a line you don't want to cross when you're trying to bean guys, but it is part of the game. And I think there's a way to do it that is still within bounds of how the game should be played. And you can still use it as an opportunity to fire up your team and get them focused on trying to crush the other guy.
You can pick and choose, but it has to be few and far between. Speaking of Andy Green, Cubs bench coach for Dave Ross, Andy Green interviewed Cleveland, and yesterday interviewed New York Mets. So he's getting a look.
Good for him.
Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed our Thursday podcast as we go towards this great sports weekend. Our podcasts are brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Center Stores, 9 locations in San Diego to serve you. You got projects, you got a best friend in Dixieline. Build it, fix it. We guarantee you will enjoy it. John, have yourself a great sports weekend. We'll see you during the Monday bonus podcast coming off this NFL and college football weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, baseball's over. I'm going to have a lot of free time on my hands in the evenings.
In the evenings.
Yeah.
But from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. on Sunday, you'll be tied up.
On Sunday, it's a different story.
Hey, thanks for being with us. Hope you enjoyed everything we bring your way. Do subscribe. Do check out my website. Thanks for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.